Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
365 Radio, time to take a look at some stories that are a little bit off the radar or that we have simply not had time to discuss. Obviously, 2 hours in the books, and we basically talked nothing but college football this entire time, so there is some other stuff going on. What do you guys remember about the malice at the Palace?
I remember Ron Artest, the erstwhile Meta
rushing
World
into
Peace,
the stands,
getting a cup of ice thrown at him. I remember at that time it was weird that a fan would throw something at somebody. Now it seems to happen all the time.
Yeah, now it's pretty much commonplace,
it
right?
is. Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, Netflix has a new series coming out called Untold, and it's going to be a multi-volume series that's taking a look into, the truth behind stories. And the first edition will be on the malice at the Palace. That will be coming out on August 10th on Netflix. I'm not sure what other sports-related shows will be. I think Caitlyn Jenner might be one of the other Untolds that they might be doing. I thought I saw that earlier.
I feel like I know enough.
Yeah, probably. But the Malice at the Palace, I mean, that's something that I remember. I was actually in Tallahassee. I was visiting my cousin Patrick, who was an FSU student. We were at a bar there in Tallahassee. It was packed to the gills. And I remember just looking up at the TV and just seeing nothing but brawl, a brawl in the stands, and just going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And yeah, it was a pretty big deal at the time. This year's not been a good year to really say, fan behavior has been at its best from what we've seen. But for those interested, that story, The Malice at the Palace, will be a part of Netflix's Untold series, and that'll be coming out on August the 10th. The NBA free agency frenzy is underway, and how about this? The Los Angeles Lakers have added Carmelo Anthony. He and LeBron James will be teammates. The Lakers agreeing to a one-year deal, according to his manager, Bay Frazier. So Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James and Anthony Davis and on and on and on.
Russ.
Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard. I mean, it's going to be an all-star cast, and Carmelo's now part of the mix.
Yeah, so they have Westbrook, LeBron, Davis, and Carmelo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, on paper, it's not exactly what it looks like, or on the court, it's not going to be exactly as it looks on paper because Carmelo's not the same guy that, he was. We think of him in his best days, but he still has something left. There's no doubt about that, and he will be a part of the Los Angeles Lakers, so it's been interesting to see, kind of the fallout from the draft and what moves are being made here and there. But, Melo and the Lakers, I'm sure that'll be a hot jersey seller, and like I said, him and LeBron get to play together, so we'll see if Carmelo can get a ring. Can he finally get a ring? And if not, he's just one of those guys who just wasn't meant to happen.
Well, I mean, the youngest guy on the team is Taylor Horton Tucker's 20. And then they got another guy who's like 26. And then everybody else is 32 and above.
Yeah.
They're an old team.
It's an older team. They're kind of striking while the iron's hot. But, that is not a major signing really in any way other than name value. But it will be cool to see him alongside LeBron, given the two of their history. So one note there from the NBA. LSU quarterback Myles Brennan, this came out yesterday, but he suffered a left arm injury, and his availability for the upcoming season is a little bit in doubt, as LSU announced yesterday. He was their top passer last season, only played, though, in 3 games and was still their top passer. And he's been competing with Max Johnson for the starting quarterback spot, but Ed Orgeron saying that he suffered a severe injury that will require surgery, his timeline yet to be determined, and that Myles had done everything asked of him and was in the fight to be the starting quarterback at LSU. So, you'll remember last year he got hurt in that Missouri game, and he's just kind of been plagued along the way. So now here he's got this big opportunity once again at LSU to maybe stay healthy, and it's just, one of those things. So we'll see when Myles Brennan is potentially able to return.
Didn't he just do an NIL thing? Didn't he? I saw he may be connected to a car dealership somewhere.
Yeah, I think I did see that, and I actually saw a lot of LSU fans who were saying, like, shoot, even if he can't play, let's get him some NIL deals. The kid deserves it. He's been through so much. Like, let's send him off on the right note, or at least do what we can for him.
Yeah, by the way, Max Johnson, son of a Brad Johnson, former Buccaneers, Cowboys, Rams, Florida State, Lion. I think he played for the Lions. Vikings. He played for the Vikings. Played a lot of teams. Won a Super Bowl with the Bucs.
Yeah, he did. Do you remember the name from just a couple of years ago? Brew McCoy. Do you remember the big to-do over him?
Texas to USC, yes.
Yes.
Or USC to Texas, back to USC.
USC to Texas, back to USC. It was a major pull for the Longhorns when McCoy was able to get out of his signed national letter of intent. Then he goes to Texas and was not there very long and does, in fact, end up back at USC. And sometimes you wonder with these high-profile recruits if you know, it's too much sometimes, all the effort that's put in and all of that. But you know, given the back and forth, the tug of war, and all the talk about this kid, it might all be for naught and might have all been a complete waste because as of yesterday, he had been suspended from team activities following an arrest last month on suspicion of domestic violence. 247 was the first to report it. LAPD confirmed he had been taken into custody back on July 24th on suspicion of intimate partner violence with injury, but did not have any further details. He'd already been released on bond and will have a court appearance in November. As of now, there have been no criminal charges filed against him by the LA County District Attorney's Office, but USC did release a statement. They talked about their Office for Equity, Equal Opportunity, said Title IX's reviewing it, and because of privacy laws, they couldn't say much more. But Brew McCoy's time with the Trojans, hard to imagine it's been nearly 3 years since he started at USC, and I know there's a lot of potential, you know, in his body to become this great receiver, but it looks like the personality side of things might prevent that from ever happening. But man, there was such a thing over him.
That was almost Ryan Perrilloux-esque.
Yes,
And the thing is that guys like that, like Ryan Perrilloux he had a career. I mean, he played in a couple places because I remember he left LSU, but it seems like sometimes when it gets to that point, is anybody ever worth that much push and pull?
No. I mean, I
don't
like
think
that,
so, man.
I mean, I think about the greatest college football players of my lifetime. Like Tommy Frazier didn't have that much push and pull, or Peyton Manning, was highly recruited. Who else? I'm trying to. Like guys like that, they didn't, and they were worth it. I think the more drama, the less it's just.
Well, there is a chance that a player that Baylor was looking at recently made a decision. When they were in the mix, it kind of got to the point where I think that might have been, I don't say this when players decommit or commit, do whatever you want, but there might have been a little bit of concern about drama. And so it wasn't something that
I know you're talking about now.
And you hear every fan base will say that, but based on my due diligence on this is that sometimes it's like, okay, good.
So my advice to high school recruits, I don't care how badass you are, don't be dramatic.
Yeah. And I think in this particular case, it was don't be dramatic if you're a parent as well. It's just your son's recruitment, and we'll leave it there. But the Minnesota Vikings have released former TCU cornerback Jeff Gladney. He was a big-time player in the Big 12, but not trying to really have a domestic violence theme here, but that's just unfortunately what's been in the news. He was indicted on a felony domestic violence charge stemming from an incident in April. Gladney's only 24 years old, but he was accused of choking, dragging, and hitting his then-girlfriend in Dallas or near Dallas during an incident that began in a vehicle back on April 1st. However, the grand jury didn't hear the case until July 29th, so this entire time he's just kind of been this weird limbo space. The Vikings were, trying to figure out as well, hey, if is he trouble? Is he not? What's going to happen here? So now that there's a little bit more detail and this thing started to roll along a little bit, the Vikings, after not having him take part in spring or training camp following the arrest, they've decided to let the due process take its course, and now they've seen it take its course, they've decided to cut him. So Jeff Gladney no longer a member of the Minnesota Vikings, and based on what was read in the counts, they obviously believe there was enough there to indict him, but this is a felony charge, and he could be seeing some serious jail time, and that's a shame because he was a really good player at TCU.
Yeah, there's been a couple of guys. Every school has players who go on to the next level, and they run into situations. We know Baylor's had that too, and others.
Oh yeah, not singling out of school.
Yeah,
here.
No, but he's a first-round pick. He was fantastic. He was a lockdown guy, and
East Texas guy too, wasn't he?
Was he from New Boston? No, that was
so,
Jeff
yeah.
Gladney.
Yeah, we were talking about is Jeff Gladney.
Yeah, look it up. I may be from a little school up in the Northeast Texas part near Texarkana.
Yeah,
if that's
New
where he went to
Boston.
school. Yep.
All right, so I'm a little bit hit or miss on statues. I just feel like, statues have been a hot topic the last few years. And, I'm kind of opposed to the idea, just the things I've seen happen at Baylor and the things just around the country of giving somebody a statue too early on. But I think Louisville might be onto something because they are going to be immortalizing Lamar Jackson. He is going to be getting a statue after winning the Heisman Trophy for the Cardinals back in 2016. He's been gone now, believe it or not, 4 years from Louisville. It's like yesterday he seemed like a rookie that was setting the world on fire, but they're not wasting any time. They're going to get this going. There's not any details on location or what the statue is going to look like and all of those types of things, but he's got so many school records and obviously is tearing it up in the NFL as well. So at just 24 years old, he's going to be getting a statue on his old college's campus, much like RG3 at Baylor or Earl at UT, and I know Heisman Park in Norman and all of that. So a cool deal for Lamar Jackson and a smart PR move by Louisville. Obviously, strike while the iron's hot.
Well, and again, like he not that Louisville wasn't on the map, but he put them really on the map as far as like you can come to Louisville and win the Heisman Trophy. That's a big deal for them recruiting wise and moving forward in that conference. So yeah, I just like RG3 put Baylor on the map with that. Like you don't have to be at one of the big gigantic blue bloods to win the Heisman. You can win it even in the modern era, where it seems like it rotates through Oklahoma and Alabama quite a bit now, but you can still be somewhere else and win it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I haven't looked at the list of those who have won it. Most of the time they are blue bloods, but it's good that Louisville and Baylor, among a handful of others. Who knows if Iowa State is as good as maybe somebody think. I don't know if that means because he's not a quarterback, but if Breece Hall and Iowa State have a big year, who knows what might happen with him?
Yeah, I mean, you go on winning the Heisman, you deserve some further accolades for that. So it made sense when Baylor did it. Makes sense for Louisville to do it, and I mentioned a couple of other examples as well. But yeah, Lamar Jackson, that'll be outside the stadium, although a lot of details still to be released there. And just one big NFL injury note, the Indianapolis Colts announcing today that offensive guard Quentin Nelson, who is one of the best offensive linemen in the league, he'll be out 5 to 12 weeks. After suffering a foot injury. Apparently it's the nearly identical injury to what quarterback Carson Wentz is dealing with right now. So Frank Reich just kind of laughed off the pain, knowing that his stud O-lineman and his quarterback are both on the shelf with the same type of injury. But apparently there's a piece of loose bone in Nelson's foot, which I can only imagine how painful that is. He's going to have surgery to get it taken out, which apparently was going to be happening today, and then obviously we'll do the rehab thing as well. But for NFL news, I mean, that's a pretty big name in the league, and he's going to miss time, but luckily not anything that's going to keep him out too long. He could be back in the starting lineup in time based on this timeline for their opener against the Seahawks, although that remains to be seen. So there's a few things that are off the radar.
Love that. Normally that would be at 4:40.